So today we have our first ever Tier 1 Pro game on Abyss. It was this game, Team Secret versus Talon, and this game was not just any other game. This was to qualify for champs this game. And I know the first question that you'll all have is, did anyone fall off? And the answer to that is yes.
All the way down mid. The recon going all the way deep. Oh no! Oh, it's gonna take a little while. It goes quite far, trust me. But he will eventually fall. It goes a long time if you're Jet. It lasts a very long time. You can actually just be out of the map, off of the mini-map for a very long time if it's on the edge.
Especially if it's a spike planted, but
There he goes. Oh, what's down here?
Smoke's off now. Blocks Team Secret's path, at least for the time being, unless they want to go through danger, unless they want to go through the
no! Cruz denies entry. 2GE was ever, and he's out. Is he going to be comfy on stage or not? I mean, that's gone. It's dashed. It's evaporated. He's here to stay at VCT Pacific. Taking aggressive.
A little bit odd with the...
he was full flashed.
So yeah, there you go. It was only Team Secret that fell off 3 times. They actually won 2 of those rounds, funnily enough, when they did fall off. I just want to quickly come back to this one, though, that happened in round 9 where Jeremy falls off, because it is quite funny, because they're on an eco this round, right? And he's going to go with knives out here, but you might just quickly notice that he never buys the updraft. And so when you play this back without him having an updraft, well, I mean, it just looks ridiculous, because you might have thought like, oh, he just missed the updraft or something, but no. He just never had it. And so he just dashes right off the map, which is quite funny. Let's also quickly just take a look at the comps as well. So this is what Team Secret were running. You got Omen, Jet, Sova, KO, and Cypher, kind of Ascent-esque, you might call this this kind of comp, right? Kind of Ascent meta-like. And for Talon, they were running the same comp, just with a breach instead of a KO. So kind of maybe a bit more Haven-esque with the breach in there, but still very, very similar overall. Now, there were still some parts of this game that some of the agents I don't think were super effective for the most part. So this is by no means like what the meta on Abyss is. The only agents I would say like for sure 100% in my opinion are like Sova and Jet, that like I think you will see close to 100% for those agents. But the rest I still think you might see some disagreement as we go forward. So now let's dive into the actual game then and what happened, and we'll start with the very first pistol round here, which was a bit of a theme as to what happened quite a lot in this game, particularly when Talon were attacked, because they did a lot of BXX. There was a lot of general play towards this B side of the map. There were some AXX in here, and not a lot of mid play, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, it was a lot of B hits like this one on the pistol.
You're definitely talking a little bit about this backstage, and where does this go?
It's just going to come all the way down. It's going to be a late bounce, and they can still get the initial information over with the cam. It's going to drop all the way deep into the wall. Okay, well, it's a little slow, I think, for my taste, but it still does mean that you get to see if anyone's right under it. It does force them to have to turn things around. And Team Secret now going for the retake.
Having the Cypher camera gives them further information as well. So now just trying to flush Rippy out of position, but he manages to sneak under cover and fires off a shot into Jeremy's skull. While Oreo pushes up against him though, but here it comes, just around the ledges. It's gonna be Jit Boys trying to fire back. Team Secret with the numbers trying to rotate on through the crossing. Governor with a classic from the sides, fires off a shot.
Okay, so in this round, and this video will be focused on a couple things, particularly on this B site. And we see, you know, Talon, they come in here, and we've got a passive, like, solo Cypher setup, right? And I think that this is the first thing that I don't think that these Cypher setups on B were very good, to be honest, in terms of we're not really getting any early information, right? So we aren't in the correct place for when the site exec is actually coming in. And then because of the way this B site is structured and what was going on, we often weren't getting any kills from these trips either. Right, so in general, I don't think that for either team, these Cypher setups on B were particularly that strong. I think they were pretty easy to just get in onto the site, get past. But there is a crucial part to this, which is where they plant here. Talon, because they go for this plant here, right? In the pistol round, they managed to get the plant here. I mean, obviously, we need to talk about like every basic on this map. They smoked this and this. If you're wondering, you know, these are the 2 smokes that they did just there. And, well, the main point is that they plant here, right? And that plant allows them to get into this post plant that they're about to go to, right? Where we can come back. And we'll see the difference to this in other rounds. We also are going to get this late flank. This is obviously going to win the round here by the Sova. But they end up in this post plant, which is a lot more passive. Now, if you watched my videos on Abyss before and like my problems with the map, was very, very concerned about post plants on this map becoming absolute spam fest, right? That you would just sit back here and just spam the spike, you know, on either side. Everyone would just leave and it would just be a big spam fest. Now, we didn't quite get that to the extreme, right? There wasn't really much of that, to be honest. But there was some moments, right? There were some moments where that kind of thing did play out, but it wasn't to the extreme. That's not to say it won't happen, but just that in this, at least early stage, you know, it didn't happen a ton. So we'll have to see how that goes, you know, going forward. But you see, they're able to get into a passive post plant. Actually, doesn't go amazing for them, but it does buy them time to go for this reflank through mid, right? So because we're able to plant the spike here and get into this passive post plant, it gives us basically the time to do this, which then obviously is going to win the round. And as I said, there was a lot of B hits, and not all the time were we able to plant here, and we'll get into some of those rounds as well where they didn't plant in that position and struggled because of that. And in the third round, we got a very good example of exactly what I was just talking about, where we end in a B hit that isn't great. Now in this round, they actually started with a mid default. Hey, we smoke with this, and we put a dart down here, and, you know, we come in towards mid, and hey, look, we got some mid action. A drone comes out the other way from the Sova, and then we just leave, and basically we're not going anywhere towards mid, and we're just going to group up and come B instead. Now, we look at this from Team Secret's point of view. Again, a passive kind of cipher hold here on B, and again, we're not getting early information. You'll see, again, that it doesn't end up going that well for them over towards this B site in terms of, you know, killing people before they get the spike down and that sort of thing. But we'll see the post plant that comes in and the struggles that Talon had when, you know, they were in this post plant that they're going to be in for this round. But they fake a bit of presence towards A, and, you know, this is like, again, it kind of reminiscent, I guess, of like, you know, a bit of Icebox, a bit of Breeze, obviously a big map. We're kind of, you know, creating pressure here. We're not really bothering with mid too much, right? We're creating pressure on one side, bringing out rotates, and then we're going to come and hit B here because it is a big map, and, you know, because it's going to be difficult. Now, the KO knife only suppressing the Sova maybe gives away a little bit. They put in a little fake smoke in towards A here as well. But as we can see, they are coming back towards B, and I do think that this is the kind of stuff that you can probably expect to happen quite a lot. But now take a look from this point in the round. They are going to manage to take the B site, but their post plant, because of where they plant the spike, ends up not being great.
It won't be here in an instant.
30 seconds left.
With that smoke now, Talon's over. It's going to take a little bit of time, and in that time, Talon will push up front, trying to eliminate some of the players who are on towards the site from Team Secret. However, Wild Aura will be able to take that swing against Governor, so that's the Sova gone now for Talon. Meanwhile, the rest of the squad, all 4 of them, just around the side of the site.
Now, the enemy doesn't have a breach, no Rolling Thunder to work out there, so they are just all on the edge. It is the bonus round for Talon, a bit of a buy-up, but they still have enough creds. Remy almost gets 2, couldn't exactly land onto the second, so Cruz just hoping to get 1 more. He won't find it, so it's 2 kills, some armor.
But we see that they actually have to come and plant the spike here on the back side, and just look at where they all are. Right, we are literally just trapped, hemmed in here, right? And I know that they have worse guns in this round, right? So, you know, they're already at a slight disadvantage here, our Talon. But the thing is, this happened as well in a couple rounds, one to Team Secret as well, where you just, if you plant the spike here, I mean, you know, you end up in this spot. This is not where you want to be. Right, this is really, really not where you want to be. This is very, very difficult to win from this point on because it's very easy to play against, right? Like one Sova dart, oh, we start revealing pretty much everyone. It's like, oh, okay, well, you get smacked by an Omen Flash, and then the Flood comes in, and it becomes very, very difficult to win. And we also get this reflank. Interesting that in both these rounds, you know, early on in the game, we had one kind of flank from each side coming up through mid. Which is probably what mid mostly will be used for. But yeah, when we're planting the spike kind of, you know, safe on the kind of backside here, you know, these kind of post plants are going to be very, very difficult. And whilst there wasn't a lot of mid action from the teams, there were a couple moments and a couple rounds like this one where Talon did do an actual B split, right? Which is quite interesting. So again, we do have, you know, some forays into mid. Here's another cipher setup for you over towards B, this time with a trip coming over towards mid. And we have an op over here towards A main for the Jet. And I think that Jet opping is going to be very, very important defense side. This is going to become, you know, absolute mainstay of the map, you know, somewhere on the map, whether it's towards B or A or even mid, right? Like this is going to become a big part of the map. And so we see after, again, just kind of like, you know, probing towards mid, not a lot there from Talon. They're then going to come and drone A and push Jeremy off this angle. And this is going to be very, very important because, again, if you can get a jet op, you know, like if you can get an op like on this angle here, it just makes the map so much easier to defend as a whole for everyone else. If you can just have one guy, you know, just holding it down for you. But Jeremy gets pushed back, and that does push them back here, and so that gives them the space. Nice round by Talon, right? We're kind of, you know, creating pressure here, and look what it does to Team Secret. Again, very big map, right? You want to try and get ahead of it, be guessing and whatnot, but now it opens up the space to come and do this B split.
You still have to hold these positions, because otherwise you're exactly falling into the position that Talon wants, and they're already successful. They've dug deep into library all the way in mid. Oh, good check.
GE, that's big information. So now Talon has to make a move and really try to decide which part they want to pinch down. Spotted Wild Oreo with the fault line, though. He's been concussed, but now that it's gone, coming back into the fray. Managing to get that spray down towards Governor. Fermi answers right back and spots out a couple more. Tries to make use of the smoke. His team has already gotten the spike planted.
And now they know Primi could be anywhere near B Heaven up in that tower, so they're trying to re-clear all of it. But 2GE, he answers the call, eliminates that question mark. They've already cleared the close corners. They know that they have to be holding further back, but it's two next to the box, right on the edge. Jitboy surviving for one more. Ban, I believe, still not quite spotted on his position. He's looking for a bit of a timing. He's got to out himself with the spray.
I think in that round we get a decent sense of maybe why doing these mid splits probably won't be super popular in general, right? Because it takes quite a lot of effort just to do it. Right, we have to, you know, make sure that we're in a good position to do it anyway with the drone here and pushing you back so that then we can maybe feel comfortable to do it. And then, you know, we have to waste, you know, quite a few resources like the Sova Dart here, you know, the jet smoke. We're going to dash in here, which doesn't really go all that well, to be honest. You know, we have the breach stun from down here. You know, we send a breach stun down here. We send an Omen flash down here, right? We're using a lot of util to take this space, but then even once we actually do take it, you know, we end up on the site, we end up in a pretty good spot, all things considered, right? And we get this trade, we end up in a 4v4, but it's like it's still not easy to then, you know, what do we do then, right? It still becomes a bit difficult, and yeah, we're getting you know, ulted there and whatnot, but it still is quite difficult. And then again, we end up in kind of this B post plant, you know, where it's not easy for Talon. And I do wonder, you know, if, you know, this is the kind of round where if we do take that extra bit of space, and maybe it's going to take a bit more time for Team Secret, if this is the kind of round where you should, if you're Talon, right, just be playing for full spam. You got the spike planted in a good position, and you don't want to be here on the site because this isn't a very easy post plant to play like this. And in terms of some of the defensive ideas, we did see some like aggro mid pushes from the defenders sometimes, but this was the kind of the one occasion that we did see an actual kind of B push here on the pistol round now that Talon are defending.
Combo, recon bolt at the ready. It's a timing fight.
Here.
Talon staying silent. The recon, but the pop flash is early. Crew's still there for the cover, but Primi cannot get alive. Governor still.
Okay, so this is a good job here by Talon overall. You know, we've got the Sheriff here for our Sova, so we kind of know what we're doing. This obviously pre-planned and whatnot, but I think you can still see some of the difficulties of it, right? The Envy, the flash out here, Primi just has no chance. Right, he just really has no chance, and you know, they need to come, like, you need 3 people to do this, really. You know, you do need 3 people to do this, because if you only have 2 people doing this, let's say the Sova wasn't here, right, like, it's just going to be so hard, because if this guy is covering for us in window, if he gets flashed or whatever, you know, we're just straight dead. There's nowhere to go, right? There is no escape from, you know, walking down here. It's going to be very, very difficult, basically. And so you kind of do need to commit a lot if you are going to do this. But as you can see, if you do commit a lot, you can still probably just about make it work like Talon did here. And as I said, we didn't see a ton of AXX, but there were some nice ones from Team Secret.
They've been very disciplined.
Clearing out.
Aftershock, just to deny any fast push off of that drone. They're trying to pretend that it's not a Cypher setup, but Jesse Bash, he's not going to buy it. Doesn't quite break the trip just yet. But Jeremy going to try to go through. He spots one, and the no command will keep everyone else at bay from Talon.
At the very least, they managed to sneak themselves firmly into the site. Talon trying to make their way through security. but kind of getting blocked off as well. So trying to go through heaven as well. Jeremy's just trying to stick around the corner, making some noise around those ropes. He's got 2 blades left, but now fully paranoid. The Hunter's Fury unleashed. Jesse Bash tries to hold down the angle. Jeremy unfortunately whiffs the blades, and Primm manages to fire back against them, but it's some trades from Team Secret.
Again, nice A exec there from Team Secret. You know, we see obviously the jet, you know, dashing off the map. Both teams did this when they came towards A, with the jet kind of dashing, you know, from off the map just there. Makes a lot of sense, right? And we actually see in this round they go for a very aggressive post plant, right? And again, we didn't have a ton of A execs, so we didn't have a ton of A post plants to really talk about it too much, but I did think it was interesting that, you know, in this particular case, Team Secret decide, okay, let's go and get super aggro, essentially. Not that this will be always the case, but I think this is a nice little change of pace, right? That, you know, you can probably see there that Talon weren't really expecting that. We also get the lurk out here through mid again, which again, mid is mainly just going to be a lurk space, you know, think icebox kind of stuff. You know, that's what mid is for, basically, and they managed to win the round. Okay, so now I'm just going to play another one of these rounds where we had a B post plant that kind of went a bit wrong here, this time for Team Secret against Talon's bonus. And I'm just going to give some overall thoughts of what I thought of kind of the first tier 1 game that I saw here on Abyss. I think that Jet and Sova, yeah, will be pretty much close to 100%. I actually think that Omen, you know, whilst Omen was fine on this map, you know, it seemed fine. I think that the Omen pick was maybe a bit more of just kind of like, everyone just thinks that Omen is the best controller and therefore they play Omen. I'm not actually sure that Omen really provided that much value, to be honest, for the teams. You know, I don't think there was a ton of amazing stuff that I saw with Omen that, you know, would convince me that that must be the pick. But maybe that's just me. I also wasn't super impressed with some of the defensive Cypher setups. I feel like, particularly because, you know, this is going to be a heavy Sova map, right? So a lot of the trips were getting destroyed, even though, you know, this is the first, you know, tier 1 game. It seems like, you know, a lot of the Sova shock darts, they already knew kind of like, oh, you're probably going to put trips in this kind of area, so I'm already going to be destroying them. So they were sometimes getting broken in certain areas, and particularly over towards B, I really didn't think that some of those setups were very good. And when it did come to B, and we did get more B execs in general, which I guess, you know, the teams are perhaps reading in that that's the easiest site to take in general. But if you can deny the spike plant like this, right? So Governor is going to spam here with the Guardian through this box, and Envy can't plant there, right? So there's time pressure here on Envy now because, you know, they need to get the spike down, but he can't plant it just there. And even though you would think this is a good spot for them, you know, for Team Secret here, now they're in a 4v4, you know, against worse guns, you think this would be easy. But again, when you plant the spike in this position, I don't think it is very easy. I think this is a difficult way of trying to play, to be honest, this kind of post plant, because you just don't have much space. You just don't really have anywhere to go, and you see it doesn't go well here for Team Secret. So on the whole, I think, you know, it's interesting to see this, right? Because the map overall, I would say, played out as I mostly expected, right? Not a lot of mid play, a lot of just kind of grouping up, you know, execing, and then maybe having someone come on a lurk and a flank. You know, that was kind of generally how the map was playing out. And that's how I expect it to play out for the foreseeable future.